Hi, first grade. We're going to be doing some more in our science, and we are going to be talking a little bit more about lungs and air today. We're getting very close to being done. After today, we only have one more science lesson for this school year. That's incredible. Well, I believe you should have this worksheet page in your packet. You may have to turn one or two pages. And it says 12.3a. I'm going to hold it up closer to the screen so that you're able. We're going to read through this together. It's kind of a review over many of the things that we have learned during this school year. And it's talking about animals. And animals are very different from one another. So do you think that possibly they may have different ways of breathing? You're right. So let's go through and look at some of these just to get a few of these ideas. So mammals. If you're a mammal, which we're mammals, and there are many animals that are mammals, we breathe with our lungs. Remember our lungs, we inhale, we take that air into our lungs and exhale. Well, mammals have lungs. All right. We also studied about fish this school year and learned about many of the parts of the body of the fish. They have dorsal fins. They have many other things. They also have gills. Right, here's a picture of a fish, and you can barely see that there is a little marking for the gill. And fish breathe with gills. Okay. Birds breathe with lungs. Actually, if you've ever been able to watch a bird up closely, you're able to see this portion of the breast of the bird. You can see it go in and out even as they're breathing. Okay. Now this one's kind of strange. I'm not a big fan of worms, but maybe you are. So this is a picture of an earthworm. Now this is what's different. They breathe through their skin. Yes, right through their skin. Up here we have an insect, and they breathe through tiny holes that are in their exoskeleton. Yeah, there's little tiny holes on their bodies that they breathe that way. Oh, something else that is not one of my most favorite. I know it's God's creation, and I should like it, but snakes. I know some of you boys really like snakes a lot. Well, this is a reptile, and they also breathe with lungs, with their lungs. Amphibians, which are like a frog, would be an example of an amphibian. They breathe with gills, skin, and lungs. Okay. So right here are some of God's creations. So why do you think they all have to breathe in such different ways? Well, their habitat, or where they live, environments are very different from one another. So that's why God created them perfectly with all the things that they need to survive and be taken care of and to breathe properly. So we have just one question at the very bottom of this page. There's an answer yes and an answer no. So that's what we're going to do. The question is, make a check mark. Do all animals breathe in the same way? If you said no, you are correct. They do not. So you can mark no and pat yourself on the back for a great answer. Good job. Good job. Now we're going to also do one other page that's very short, and it's page 185. 185, it has this diagram. We're going to do this as a review tomorrow when we do science again. There will be a little assessment for you to do, and we'll also be going through a little worksheet together. But today we'll just do this little, this page. So we need to think back about what we've been learning about our lungs and breathing and air. So circle the word that means to take air into the lungs. Would that word be asthma? If you're taking air into the lungs, is it inhale or is it exhale? I think I gave you a pretty good clue that one time. Inhaling is taking air in. Exhaling is letting air exit your body, leave. So what is the word that means to take air into your lungs? If you circled the word inhale, you're correct. That's what it is. It is, yes. We did talk last time about some safety precautions, some safety ideas for you and your family to possibly discuss. You may have done that. This is a question about that. Circle a way to practice fire safety. A way to practice fire safety. To be safe, would you play with matches? Or would you plan an escape plan from your house? Or, as you all know, we have an escape plan for each of the classrooms in our school. We have a way that we go. So, to practice fire safety, playing with matches would not, no, would not be the right answer. That's never a safe thing to do. But to make an escape plan and know what to do in case there was ever a need to escape, that would be the right thing. Down below, we are going to write a word from the word bank to complete the sentence. The word bank words are body, move, and germs. The faster you blank, the more quickly you breathe. The faster you body, the more quickly you breathe. I kind of don't think so. The faster you move, the more quickly you breathe. Ooh, that could be. Or the faster you germs, the more quickly you breathe. No, that was one of those funny answers again. You know, sometimes they give us silly answers. Well, the correct answer would be the faster you move, the more quickly you breathe. Remember we did that timed little lab a couple of weeks ago where we took our pulse when we were just being still, but then we ran in place, and how much faster our pulse was, the faster our heart was beating. We were breathing harder. Yeah, the more exercise, the more movement, that's more quickly you breathe. All right, now you're going to get a crayon out if you have one, or if you just have a pencil, it's totally fine, totally fine. We're going to draw a line to show how air enters into our body. So we did talk about this a couple weeks ago. It can enter in through your nose or through your mouth. And once it does that, it goes down the throat, into the windpipe, and from the windpipe, down here, there's an area that each windpipe splits and can go to each lung. So what we're going to do is we're just going to trace down the way you breathe. So if you're going to pick nose, you have to go all the way up here. If you're going to pick mouth, you'll start it right there. And that's kind of how it's going to look at that point. And then it's going to go down your throat, into your windpipe. And then when it gets down to the bottom of the windpipe, it can go both directions. And it's going to go into your lungs, the air. So you can draw in that pathway for the air to travel for you to be able to breathe. Okay? So if you've got that done, that's great. That is the last part of the review for today. And then tomorrow we'll take a little assessment. We'll write in our journal a little bit. Okay? Well, thank you for joining me for science today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.